Namaste and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth, Logos means a study or science, Sattology means a science of truth or study of truth. It's an antonym of the word mythology, which means a science of fake lie imagination. The English word myth also means imaginary fake lie. And the Sanskrit word is a much stronger meaning from which the English word is taken. Myth in Sanskrit in Devanagari is also called fake lie or imagination. So mythology is a science of fake lie imagination or study of fake lie imagination. Just the word itself removes credibility from any history of the world. Very surprisingly, that they hate most of the Christians and Abrahamic faiths. They hate to call their version of history as mythology, but they claim to tell about Vedic scriptures or Hindu scriptures as mythology. So this is the colonial propaganda, and we all have to reject it. Now, today I have a very, very special guest who holds a position in a private organization, spiritual organization, and he was very instrumental in leading a protest against the barbaric acts which were done in Bangladesh. It is a duty of all the yogis and spiritual practitioners to protect other spiritual practitioners. And we all know that Bhagavad Gita is probably the only spiritual book in the world because it is the only book which gives information about the soul. No other book gives that. Every other book assumes that. So without delay, let us welcome Sri Radha Raman Das from ISKCON, Kolkata. So, Radha Raman Prabhu, what was the most fascinating thing about about the Hindu unity in the world? Because everyone keeps complaining about Hindu unity. And we see that the Hindus rise when there is an occasion, but this was not a very good occasion to rise because they should not be reacting to incidents like this. In fact, they should be united and preemptively work on at least removing the threat of these kind of incidents in the future.
As you all know, that last 14 days, 2 weeks, was very, very horrible for Hindus in Bangladesh. On 13th October, a cycle of violence started in Bangladesh. Actually, the pretext to that violence was given that somebody has placed Quran in the feet of deity of Lord Hanuman, which we later came to know that the person who has placed that book was Iqbal Hussain. And this, on pretext of that incident, there was a cycle of violence started in Bangladesh. During that time, Durga Puja was going. So first, these people, they started to break Durga Puja pandals, started smashing Durga Devi deities. And then the cycle was going on. Many people were injured, brutally injured. Many people were killed also. And on the day of Vijayadashmi, that was 15th October, around a mob of 500 people, they came in front of ISKCON temple in Noakhali. And first they broke pandal in front of the temple. They smashed the Durga Devi idols there. And around 200 people from that mob, they entered the ISKCON temple. They started beating brutally devotees there. One devotee was killed on the spot. Another was kidnapped, whose body was found floating next day in the nearby pond. These people, they smashed all our deities there in the temple, inside temple, burned the deity of our founder Acharya, burned the chariot, Rath Yatra chariot, which was kept in the temple compound, and burnt books, smashed all the window pans, burnt many parts of the temple. Then in the evening, I got a call from Bangladesh about this incident. Immediately, I called the residence of the Indian Prime Minister, and I requested his secretary to immediately speak with his Bangladeshi counterpart. And next day in the morning, I wrote a letter to United Nations, sent them through email, also tagged that letter on Twitter. But there was no reaction. There was complete silence from all the authorities. Then, as the news spread on Twitter and social media platforms, then media channels started coming. They told that if you are ready to speak on camera about what has happened, then we will telecast, because Bangladesh government is not allowing media person to visit there, and the Bangladeshi media is also not on the ground. So media can't show based on social media, whatever visuals are coming. But if as an organization, as an official of an organization, if you speak on camera, then we will telecast the news. Then I agreed. So on 15th October, late in the night, around 10:30 o'clock, I gave a phone interview. The next morning, the channel, they came to the temple. Then I narrated all the incidents which I heard from the temple devotees in Noakhali. And then they started telecasting this news. So as the news spread all over the world, devotees were very disturbed. Also, one of our devotees who lives in Mayapur, one Mataji, she called us, and what she narrated was horrible. Her family members lives in Bangladesh, and she told that when she called to inquire about their well-being, she was she was shocked to hear what they told her. All the female members in that family were raped by a mob, and they were in that family. The two were children. One girl child who was just 10 years old, she died. She left her body because of profuse bleeding. That news was covered by a Bangladeshi TV channel, news channel. So as this news started spreading all over the world, and we started raising this horrible crimes before media, and media started carrying this news, then devotees all over the world, they started coming out on the street. Protests started in America, protests started in Russia, Australia, South Africa. And then that evening, United Nations issued a condemnation of the incident and requested Bangladeshi government to act on this violence and to contain it. Also, next morning, the American President's office, they issued condemnation. Then ISKCON, as a society, we decided that ISKCON has in 150 countries, ISKCON has a presence. So all our 700 temples will protest together on 23rd October. And on 23rd October, since morning in Kolkata, we started our protest at around 9:30 a.m. and it continued for more than 12 hours. And worldwide devotees in their place, they came out. We had thought that maybe around 700 temples will participate. But at the end, when devotees started sending messages, in more than 170 countries, devotees came out on the streets, and it was more than 6,000 different places where devotees protested. So in the history of followers of Hinduism, many people commented, many news channels commented that this was the first time that for a cause of violence against Hindus in so many countries, lakhs of people, they came out on the street and protested. And we saw what, after this protest, we saw that many big leaders from all over the world, they started issuing statement. The Prime Minister of United Kingdom, his office also issued a statement. And from all over the world, condemnation started coming. In the past, we saw that many times Hindus are killed. Like, this is not the first time this is happening in Bangladesh. 5 years back also, two of our ISKCON devotees were murdered. Their head was beheaded. And just 1 year back, a mob, they vandalized one of our temple, smashed all their window pans, looted all stuff from the valuables from the temple. But during that time, we were looking at the face of authorities that the government will take action, other will criticize about it, but nothing happened. Only a couple of newspaper reported that incident. And on social media also, hardly few people raised those issues. In Bangladesh in 1946, in Noakhali, lakhs of people were murdered. In 1971, 3 million Hindus were killed in 1971 riot. And 6 million Hindu women were raped. In 1990, in Kashmir, thousands of people were killed in a single night. And lakhs of people, Kashmiri Pandits, they have to leave Kashmir. Also, just before Bangladesh, this carnage, violence, just a month before, we saw in Afghanistan, the Taliban, they were killing so many innocent Hindus, Sikh, Jains, and other people. But hardly the world was taking any notice of it. Even United States was busy shifting their people from there. But nobody was protesting. So this has to change. This time, when we learned that this has happened to our devotees, two of our devotees were killed. One of our devotees' family was raped, including a 10-year-old girl child. We could have continued, looking towards different people. Some government will speak about it, world will take notice about it. Initially, I approached the office of the Prime Minister. I wrote to United Nations. But the real action started when devotees started coming on the street. United Nations also took note of what is happening in Bangladesh. When devotees in the United States came out on the street, some devotees in Russian cities, they started coming out on the street and started sharing their videos of the protest. It's unfortunate that the world listens to only those who come out on the street and protest. But if this is the way, then Hindus have to learn to protest. The problem is that we see those people who commit violence and who are, actually Hindus are the most suppressed people. For 1,000 years, so many invaders came. They looted they looted from our temples. They destroyed our temples. They raped so many women, killed lakhs and lakhs of Hindus, innocent Hindus. And this carnage is still continuing. But in spite of Hindus having such, still we are large group of people, 800 million. But still, we think that the others will do our job. This Bangladesh thing, one thing it gave us that, yes, we Hindus also can organize. We also tested that When we came on the street, a lot of things started happening. The world pressure it created on Bangladesh government also started acting. Around six police heads of six different districts in Bangladesh where this carnage happened. They were transferred immediately and new people, police officers put in their place. More than 450 FIRs were filed and thousands of people were arrested who committed this crime. Also the person who has placed that Quran, Iqbal Hussain, he was also immediately arrested. So all this investigation started happening. So this is the point that when 5 years also back, two of our priests were killed, but we don't know. I don't think anybody was arrested for those crimes. Forget about giving punishment to them. But this international approach by Hindus all over the world made all the leaders from Western countries also speak about crimes against Hindus.
You know, in the US, more than 60 million Americans practice yoga, and most of them are not even aware that yoga is coming from Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma. And the word yoga itself is a Sanskrit word. But the thing is, the outrage against Bangladesh even touched them. Many of them joined in Pittsburgh, and these are not connected to ISKCON. These are connected to just yoga community of US. Many of them also joined in a big way. In San Diego, also where I live, we had a protest on October 23rd, like we spoke. The one important thing is, which comes into mind, is that why this cycle of violence repeats again and again against Hindus. And Hindus, like you correctly said, they're the most suppressed people, started from Macaulay, Max Muller, and the British colonization, and also the Islamic attacks on South Asia. Condition of Hindus in Pakistan, condition of Hindus in Afghanistan. We all know what is happening, but there is no world outrage. Why do you think that way?
Actually, as we know that in Afghanistan, a few months back, Islamic State, they have captured the territory. And we know their ideology, what they want. They want only one religion, one prophet, one God. And they are very much committed for that vision. Immediately when ISIS became strong in Afghanistan, Kashmir was peaceful for last 3-4 years. But immediately those people, those radicals who agree with their ideology that in the whole world there should be only one religion, one God, and one prophet, they became active. And it's like a chain reaction. Afghanistan became violent, Kashmir became again violent, and many people from other parts of India, they were shot dead. And immediately after that, this Bangladesh thing happened. One thing I would like to mention that world knows that who put when police has not investigated and when we did not know who has placed that Quran at the feet of Hanumanji in Bangladesh, big radicals, these terrorists, they were shouting here in India also that whoever will do things like this, we will behead him. But very next day, when this terrorist, this person, Iqbal Hussain, was arrested, and we saw that on video, it is seen that this person, Iqbal Hussain, is placing that Quran at the feet of Hanumanji. From that day, everybody is mum. Nobody is wanting his head. So all this thing, this is just pretext to kill more Hindus and minorities. This is just pretext. If it was about the book, then why they are not demanding head of Iqbal Hussain? So all other communities in world has to unite. It's not only about Hindus. Other communities who don't believe in what these people believe, they are at danger because they are very clear in their intention. Even in their own religion, there is another group. They can't tolerate them also. They want to kill them also. So it's very necessary that that world should think about it. And together we can unite. And we have to, with a strong hand, government has to think because these people can be fought militarily only because you know we are all are at danger because of this kind of ideology. So military can be military is the only solution to fight these people.
The most of the if you look at the history, the one book culture in Abrahamic faiths, and I can say directly from American textbooks. I've written many books on that, two books on that. Gold, Glory, and God is my last book came out. And I've written extensively where the system of hatred against animism. Now, most of the Indians do not know that shamanism refers to ancient cultures of the native South Americans, and generally they call Hindus also shamanistic and animistic. Animistic means we Ganesh Murthy is considered animistic according to them. And pantheism means our culture, Hindu Sanatana Dharma culture of having multiple deva we worship, devtas. So the culture of hatred is institutionalized, and where when the child grows up reading any of the Abrahamic faiths, any three of them, Judaism, or Islam, or Islamism, or Hinduism, or Christianism, I call it, not Christianity. Any of these three isms from Middle East people read, the children are brought up in hatred of, we are a superior faith because we are monotheistic. Now, monotheistic itself is a church-based term because they replace the European native cultures. And it is not practical because even in South, if you look at the ancient natives of Europe, we have Germanic tribes, Franco tribes. It's a very clear worship of Anahita or Inanna or Ishtar. Now, these are all Durga forms. They have been worshipped and they were removed forcibly by the church. Now, but we have seen Abrahamic faiths have created a notion amongst their people, faulty training, that they are superior and the others have to die for them to survive. This is the culture which is created, and it is institutionalized in American textbooks, institutionalized in the entire European mindset. And we have 57 Islamic countries which naturally do not tolerate any other faith. One or two of them are exceptions now, like UAE is an exception, and to some extent Oman is an exception, and the third is Saudi Arabia, which is trying to change this culture. But Pakistan, which are the conquered territories of Islam, according to them, they are kafir according to Saudi Arabia people, and Bangladesh, and to some extent Indonesia, we have seen a large scale violence based on the education that these people receive from their childhood. Is the mindset over there. And like the Hindu meaning in Arabic dictionary is a black, ugly looking man, uneducated, and very a thief, generally a thief. Very racist connotations given to followers of Hindu culture. uh, there is one thing, we can change the education, but beyond a certain time when they grow up, they gain confidence, and there are elements within their own society which consider violence or building their masjid. Masjid is just a place of gathering. They create on top of the temples of Hindus, and Christians have done it. Judaism has no history. I have not seen the history much, but Islam has done it. Build their temples on top of it, and on top of it, they call themselves religion of peace. Now, if you look at from my point of view, because they're attacking me, it is totally different. Now, the yoga has given peace to all over the world, coming from Bhagavad Gita and Hindu scriptures. Meditation. The third is vegetarianism. These are very essential concepts. Educated people move towards this direction. But do you think that just merely, you correctly said that we need military help because we need to protect ourselves militarily. Do you think ever the situation will come where the world over has to force to change these narratives in their textbooks and the religious indoctrination? Because currently we do not know who is a radical, who is not. We do not know that. So what is your view on that?
Yes, actually, it's very important. Problem is that if when we allow madrasas and the institutions where small children are brainwashed, if we can't stop this, then it's very difficult. As we know that even madrasas in India is funded by government. So if we don't know, if we don't have control over what these small children are being taught, also in many seminaries, if same thing is taught from childhood, then how can we expect when these children will become young, they will not hate others? All this hate mongering should be stopped. And whatever is being fed to our children or to youth, or to hate somebody, or to demean some other people, that has to be stopped. So government of different countries should monitor these things, what our children are being taught. And we cannot, we are living in 21st century. How can we, teach these radical things? Like if somebody is not believing what you believe, then they are kafirs and they don't have any right to live. This is a very dangerous teaching. And such, if you read what they are taught in madrasa, you'll be horrified. Horrible things they are teaching. They are putting in the minds of small children. That's why there is so much hate. So many videos which came from Bangladesh, like two young Muslims, they were cutting one of our devotees into pieces, and they didn't have any fear and innocence, no emotions at all. They're just hitting and cutting, just hitting and cutting. Just hitting on the neck, and just neck is cutting apart and hitting here, everywhere, without any emotion. So we are making world a very dangerous place if we are based on somebody's belief, based on what the other person follows, what he eats, what he worships. If we allow this hate to germinate and grow, then this world will be a very difficult place to live. Sanatan Dharma teaches like to respect everyone. Even in our Sanatan Dharma, there are many rishis who were atheists, and they have their own book, they have their own shlokas. Everybody is given freedom to have his own belief, his own understanding, and he has all right to live like anybody else. So now we are not living in a stone age or in a desert cult. We have United Nations where people can come and discuss all these things. There is a need to reform our educational system and monitor what our small children are taught.
I won't blame the entire Muslim community of Bangladesh here, but the thing is, people who did this and people who Muslim community from Muslim community who did this, isn't their responsibility now to correct this? Because they were all Hindus before. They were either converted through force or through coercion, and we all know it has happened. Won't you expect them to take corrective steps, or it is too far they cannot do also?
Yes, it's very unfortunate that whenever there is attack on Hindus, where it is verified news, no, like very few people from their community come on the street in solidarity with the other Hindus. And even on social media platform, forget about coming and joining a protest. Even on social media platform, if you see, hardly few people they criticize it. So it's very very unfortunate. This is upon them to think about it. Good will it will be very good if these people from whose community these people are doing violence, if other community members of this belief, if they become vocal and started protesting that this is un-Islamic or this thing, that will very good for world. But I don't know why there is very very few reactions from them.
No, it is generally what I have been told by many of the Muslim viewers who are watching right now, that to build a temple on any other place of worship is forbidden in their culture. But we have seen that all over the place. Taliban has, and the common logic they use it, they are not Muslims. Now this is like brushing under the problem. You're brushing the problem under, because you're not correcting the situation, but you are just saying they are not Muslims and they should not be treated like they are not Muslims. But they all claim to be a Muslim. So we, as an outsider of that faith, how do we know who is right and wrong? Because it looks like the moderates, they cover up by brushing it aside, but no corrective action is taken. No, like such kind of mosques are not banned by the Muslim community themselves, and no such thing happens. No corrective action happens. It's like elephant taking a bath, and after taking a bath, he comes and put dust on their body again. So we do not know what, there is no corrective action. So do you think that it is the work of the international bodies like United Nations to look into this aspect, where the genocide of peaceful communities like Hindus happens? And the secondly thing also, the concept of aggressor and victim is very misdefined. Like the whole world, especially the Western media, talked about Rohingyas, and Rohingyas being thrown out of Burma, but they do not talk about the Hindus getting displaced within their own lands. So there is a selective media outrage also. So what do you have to say on that? That what needs to be corrected in their culture? If they cannot correct it, then somebody else needs to correct it.
Yeah, actually, it's very unfortunate that for thousands of actually Hindus are the most oppressed people in their land. If you read the history for 1,000 years, people from outside they came, they grabbed our land, they destroyed our thousand and lakhs of temples, raped so many women, killed so many people. And in Burma also, Burma, like you are speaking about Rohingya, we have to also go into the history of Rohingyas. Rohingya people, they killed lakhs of Burmese people, the local people, the original people of Burma. They killed thousands and lakhs of people. So, like Hindus, Burmese were also very peaceful people, practicing their own thing. They practice, as we know, most of them are Buddhist. But one day, these people realized that if we continue like this Rohingyas will finish all of us. They had already started occupying their land. They used to rape their women and very very brutally kill people. So one day, all these Buddhist people they organized themselves, and they thought that if we don't rise now, they will finish off. So then they also started doing same thing what this Rohingyas used to do. So that was reaction against these people. And as we know that Rohingyas were on back foot, then they started entering India, Bangladesh. But now Bangladesh is a Muslim country, but they are also not accept. They don't want to accept this Rohingyas because these Rohingyas are very, very much radicalized people. So even those normal Bangladeshi who live in Bangladesh, they are afraid of them. You must be knowing there are many incidences that this local Bangladeshis were so afraid that they organized themselves and they burnt many of Rohingyas settlement in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh government is also telling everyone that we will not keep them for long. We have to shift them. So they are pushing them into India or some other country. So nobody wants to keep them. So problem is that these people, they know how to play victim card. But actually, we Hindus are the greatest victims, but we don't play card. We haven't learned to play card. But these people, they are the oppressors. They are doing violence against Hindus. They are expert in using card. Now, as we know, in India also 2, 3 incidents happened like this Akhlaq case. I think he was a thief or I think he stole someone's cow, killed and ate, and the other villagers whose cows was stolen, they got angry with him, and when they beat, and when the police was taking him to jail, he left his body. So here you see the person. These two, like I'm mixing maybe. There were two people who were killed, lynched, actually lynched because the public beat them. And one of them was thief and another was a cow thief. So it was just a general case of, like if somebody steals your cow and kills that cow and eats it, and if people find about it, they will be naturally angry. And of course, I'm not justifying lynching is good. Police should take action. But what I am trying to say, this killing and what happened in Bangladesh, what happened in Afghanistan, what happened in Kashmir when sabji seller, vegetable seller was shot dead, the motive is completely different. There is no communal angle when Akhlaq was killed. People beat him because he has stolen their cow and slaughtered that cow and eaten him. So people were naturally angry. In India, we know cow is revered and they worship. So there is a sentiment. But these people, for all this year, they play such a victim card. Ah, Akhlaq was killed. Akhlaq was killed. Everywhere they're shouting. And now in Bangladesh, so many Hindus are killed. In Afghanistan, so many Sikhs were killed. In Kashmir, just a few days ago, a poor vegetable seller from Bihar was killed. Many of them. But nobody is coming with their, victim card and, with their takti and protesting that. A 10-year-old girl was raped and killed by a mob in Bangladesh. How many people, how many intellectuals, they came with holding this placard, protesting that incident? So this is very unfortunate. These people who are oppressors, they have victim cards. But the real victims, we Hindus, we are very silent. We don't play any card. We just need to come out on the street and hit the street and protest, and world will hear.
Protesting is always a after reaction. After the incident has happened, the goal needs to move towards preventing such incidents in future. And the only way, just like the Jews had to literally protect themselves before so that the violence doesn't happen. That's the only solution, because the police is an after reaction. After the incident happens, like even the American law, the right to protect, self-protect is a law in the United States. People have the right to defend themselves. In the Indian Constitution also, people have the right to defend themselves. But the only difference is the India still follows a colonial policy of disarming their own citizens. And but people, these kind of people, they have illegal weapons. So how do good people defend themselves when they do not have the capacity to defend themselves? That's the question. In America, even though it has been misused by many people, crazy people, but generally majority of Americans own weapons. And in American democracy, the weapons to be owned by the Americans is a right to self-defense, and with the same capacity or caliber as a illegal person procure illegal weapons procured by these kind of people. So unless that is change is there, and the Hindu mindset of expecting peace from everyone else when they cannot expect peace, because like I said before, it's the ideological grooming right from birth, that these people are idol worshippers, they are cow worshippers, and they need to be killed. But most of the Muslims do not know that in Saudi Arabia, camel piss is drunk in airports. You can buy it from the airport. So the demeaning is going on, and the media, especially the media like Al Jazeera, media like CNN, media like you know, Fox News was completely silent, which is, I have really serious questions on Fox News and American news channels, because they only focus on American domestic. But even in India, the media, the leftist media, which you call it, or Marxist media, or the Latin's media, try to protect these criminal elements and amongst other faith in the name of Islamophobia. Now, Islamophobia has become a fantastic tool. Now, most of the people world doesn't know this was invented by Muslim women against Muslim clerics. It was not invented by a Hindu or Christian guy. And it was, they were scared of their own people, and that's how the word got invented. So the point is that Islamophobia is a word become like a silencing tool for everybody else to tolerate, but except them, everybody else has to tolerate. So what do you have to say on that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that these people have victim cards, various cards. So Islamophobia is one of that from their, one of the cards. So whenever you start speaking about, they just flash, this is Islamophobia. Arey bhai, first address. Actually, we should not be very much considerate about what they think. We have to shout, we have to also start shouting double their voice. These people, it's easier for to wake a person who is sleeping, but those people who are acting to be sleeping, we can't wake them. So I think we should not consider about all these people. Whatever they are shouting, we should shout in double voice. That is only solution. We know what is, all this. There are so many in name of that book. So many people are killed. So many things is there. Like if you just read the history of the book or even the newspaper, then there are so many incidences being done by these people. But the second shocking thing is that you will find that like people like these people say that only 1% in Islamist people are terrorists, and 99% people are very good. But I'm trying to find out, a statement or a protest rally taken by this 99% people. They should come out on the street and say, okay, this 1% people who have committed the heinous crime in Afghanistan or in Kashmir or in any part of the world or in France, we are against them and they don't represent Islam. So why there is complete silence, no protest from this other group, 99%.
No, you're
So
true.
for world to to develop faith, I think it's up to our Muslim brothers and sisters. If they really feel that 1% don't represent the true Islam, then it's time that 99% of Muslims, they should come out on the street, disown these people, disown this acts by them. In Bangladesh case, I don't see any protest rally organized by Muslims that why Hindus minorities were killed.
So one important word is like kafir phobia, because the word kafir is used in their textbooks for, it's a Judaistic word. In Judaism also same word is there, kufar, kufr. Kufr is word used there in Middle East for Gentiles. In Judaism, it's called for Gentiles, like the non-Jews. Gentiles means non-Jews, or a village guy, village bumpkin, like the guy who's uneducated in the village is called kufar. Uh, the same word is in Islam also, Quran also. It's 420 times mentioned, 420 times. And this word means, this is like a fear. You have to be scared of kafir, or like the abuse amongst the Muslims is that you are a kafir. That's an abuse. Uh, like in so when this do you think, and that's why I invented a term called kafir phobia. They're scared of kafir. So kafir phobia is institutionalized form of racism against anyone who is not belonging to their faith, and it particularly sees in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. What Pakistan has done to Hindus. I mean, Bangladesh came out. Pakistan news doesn't even come out. There is no mention anywhere. So the and Afghanistan also came out because of Taliban. The point which I'm saying, do you think that there is a need to for the Hindu community to proactively work in the media against kafir phobia? Because there is no reason for them to be scared of it. It is the reverse. We are scared of them. What do you have to say on that?
Absolutely correct. We Hindus are very much whatever happens, we are like 2 days we talk and then we forget about it. But that's not good. Uh, the life of Hindus, our culture is at stake, and if we don't act now, it will be too late. That's why, like we Hindus are peaceful people, but we should also dedicate our time in studying about our history, true history, not what is taught in our schools, but true history. And we should be discussing, which we should not be only discussing about Bollywood and other nonsense, but we should also be discussing these important things. If this is happening in Kashmir, Bangladesh, Pakistan, we should remember even Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kashmir, Myanmar, Burma, all this was part of Akhand Bharat just couple of hundreds years ago. 75 years ago, Pakistan, Bangladesh was part of India. But at a stroke of night, we lost around almost India lost 33% of its land. In India also, we are seeing that again, that kind of pocket is developing in different places. In every state, there are pockets where there is a very dangerous pattern is happening. Even in the national capital, there are news. If you listen, if you Google on YouTube or YouTube, you search, you'll find that even in Delhi, the national capital, there are some areas where one Muslim family came and started living, and slowly second Muslim family came and started living. And the condition is there is that there is no Hindu left. And what happens that when they are 40% in that area, they start doing all those things which which other Hindus they become very afraid to save their women. You know, they do a lot of things just to save their women and property. They're so much afraid that they have to sell their property at very low price to them and run away. So all this thing is happening in India also. And if some Hindu is thinking that I'm very safe in my home, just go around and just try to notice. Not far from your home, there are big communities where people are gathering, and there is no guarantee that another Kashmir night of 1990s can't happen in your area. So we all have to think, and Hindus has to also get organized. If they can do it, why can't Hindus get organized? We should not be demanding, always keep looking towards others. Okay, our prime minister will do, or this person will do, or United Nation will do. No. One of the greatest problem of Hindus is that we look towards others. But when we will start organizing in our own area and started thinking about this thing. Earlier, we used to worship Shastra, we used to do Shastra Puja. But now, if you go, we don't have even hockey sticks at our home. At least our national game is, hockey. Nobody will stop you to keep hockeys. At least we can keep 11 hockeys at your home or whatever members you have in family. That will, at least you can defend something, do with that. So if we want to make excuse, we can continue like that. But if we want to save ourselves, save our own family, and don't want a Kashmir night of 1990s, Hindus should stop looking at others and start getting united in our own locality. And there are many ways. There are many materials also available on YouTube. We should start getting organized.
Uh, Thank you so much, Radha Ramanji, for coming on the show and speaking to a large audience here. And and in the end, I would say that this is a very like a again a whitewashed moment. Whitewashed is a racist term. I hate to use it, but yes, white Western academics who do not understand, they have made this a big blunder by institutionalized teachings. And most of the Middle Eastern people, they follow American curriculum, and they say, look what Americans talk about you, what Europeans talk about you. But they do not know that they themselves are, all of them, it's not that like the disease has spread all over the place, whether it's a Middle East or Europe or USA. The characterization of anything non-Abrahamic is always negative, and which is literally a curse on the natives. So in the US, we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion to a large extent, because of strong laws. But it doesn't happen in all the other countries, because people buy this propaganda from the West, and they use it the local way they have. The medieval times are still going on in those countries. So thank you so much, Radha Ramanji, and thank you for coming on the show. We'll have more discussions on this area. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.